Hello, I'm Tim Krul. Welcome to Norwich City Central.
Hello everybody, Lewis, Norwich City Central, and welcome back to another match preview. This is an interesting one, isn't it? Norwich under the lights at Carrow Road coming up against Aston Villa. Lots of reunions, Norwich desperate for points. It's going to be a really fascinating game, this one. And when you look at, the games you kind of have to win on paper, at home against Aston Villa, it's going to be a tough game, but Norwich have got to try and get 3 points. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in this one. And yeah, massive game for Norwich. I think it's the first midweek game Norwich have had at Carrow Road. 7:45 kickoff, and of course it's a reunion for Dean Smith back at Aston Villa, his boyhood club, or playing against Aston Villa, his boyhood club, and the return of Buendia. Oh, it could be a really interesting one, and the narrative around the game coming into it's a really interesting one, and it could be a very spicy game when it starts as well. But let's talk about Aston Villa so far before we get on to Norwich, who put in a really good performance against Man United, didn't they? But Aston Villa have improved. Of course, they started the season with some mixed results. They famously got a win at Old Trafford under Dean Smith, which got them into the top half of the table, and they looked in a really good position. And Aston Villa going into this game, or going into the season, probably had aspirations maybe for European football, or certainly top 10 football. That was kind of where they were as a club. Of course, buying Buendia, Leon Bailey, spending a lot of money despite losing Jack Grealish, but it never really worked out for them. Dean Smith lost 5 consecutive games in a row, and that was the end of him. And then Steven Gerrard came in, and they got some really good results. They got a really good away win at Palace, and a first win for him at Brighton at home. They recently beat Everton, although they haven't been that great. So yeah, some good results under Steven Gerrard. I think they've won 3 of their last 5 games, only losing to Liverpool and Man City. So they've done well. But to be honest, I think a lot of the new managers have had a good bounce. Dean Smith at Norwich, Steven Gerrard at Villa, Claudio Ranieri at Watford. So this will be an interesting one though, because I think Villa's best results have come at home, and away from home they're probably still not quite there yet. But of course, in terms of danger men, Ollie Watkins is starting to impress again and get into some goal scoring opportunities. Danny Ings is another one of their signings, and of course in their offensive areas, Leon Bailey is an exciting talent. And let's not talk about Buendia. We don't want to mention his name because we all know how good he is, and defensively as well they've improved as well. So if you look at their team throughout the whole on paper, they've got a very good squad, and one which is probably going to, on paper, certainly in the top 10 of the league. So it'll be an interesting one, this, and a difficult one for Norwich, to be honest. But yeah, that man, Buendia, I mean, of course, joining Aston Villa in, a £38 million move. It was a record sale, considering Norwich only bought him for 1.5 million. Incredible bit of business. And Buendia, for me, is technically the best player to have ever played for Norwich City in terms of what he can do on the ball. I would even argue he's better than the likes of James Maddison, and maybe not Wes Hoolahan. No one can be better than Wes Hoolahan, can they? But no, a fantastic player. But he hasn't really stepped up in the Premier League for Aston Villa. 1 goal, a couple of assists. He looks a talent, and we all know it's there. But he hasn't really picked up for Aston Villa in maybe the way we expected him after one of the best ever Championship individual performances. But if you look ahead to Norwich now in this game, under Dean Smith, of course, Dean Smith came off the back of 5 consecutive losses at Aston Villa, and he's done well. I mean, he's only won 1 of his first 5 games, but Norwich have improved in so many areas. Of course, the 2-1 win over Southampton, the 0-0 draw against Wolves we should have won, the 1-1 draw against Newcastle the 1-1 draw against Newcastle is one we should have won. But we've had consecutive losses against the so-called top 6. But against Tottenham, I thought we were, it wasn't the worst performance. We just didn't take our chances. And against Man United, we were the better team. We created more opportunities than Man United. We're good at both ends of the pitch, except putting the ball in the back of the net. We just couldn't do it for a couple of instances of poor finishing and some brilliance from David De Gea. And that's kind of been the story of Dean Smith so far. Defensively, we look stronger. We look more of an organised unit. We look more committed. We move the ball better. And going forward, we create more chances. We've created a lot more big opportunities since Dean Smith's come in. But putting the ball in the back of that is still eluded Norwich. And you have to look at the quality maybe up front and from midfield as well. I think of the Newcastle game, the Lees Malou chance. Tottenham, of course, Sargent and Eder missing amazing opportunities. And Pukki, to be fair. Against Man United as well, we missed a couple of big opportunities. So that's it. I just think Norwich City need more goals from attacking areas. I mean, Pukki scored 5 of Norwich's 8 goals. Norwich have scored the least in the league with 8 goals. I think next is Wolves with 12. And as I say, Pukki scored 5 of those 8. Omar Bamidele's got 1. Grant Hanley's got 1. And Norman's got 1. So, Omar Bamidele, Hanley and Norman are all injured. And it just leaves to Pukki. But quite simply, you've got to get goals from midfield areas. Gilmore, Lees Malou, Kenny McLean have all started. You've got to start contributing. Sargent, of course, Ida, whoever those wingers are. We just need to really pull our gear now and go forward in that attacking stage and really start putting the ball in the back of the net. In terms of injury news going into this game, and Rashita, who's been one of our best players since Dean Smith's come in, is obviously injured for 3 to 4 weeks. Hopefully he's going to be back for the Boxing Day fixture against Arsenal. Norman, they'll talk about him being back for Aston Villa. He's not. And I've got a feeling he's not going to be back for West Ham as well. I feel like it might be one where he's back for Boxing Day. And then, of course, Grant Hanley, the skipper, getting injured, which was absolutely gutting. And it's what from Dean Smith said in his press conference. It's going to be, looks like a long-term injury, and his arm's in a sling for at least a couple of weeks. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but we're looking for several weeks, which is really disappointing. Omar Bamidele is out until Christmas. Ben Gibson comes back in, and that's kind of it, I think, on team news. Christos Zolis, of course, is still out with COVID, so quite a lot of players out, including some of Norwich's best players in Rashitas, Norman, and Zolis as well. So it makes it difficult for Norwich, and the last thing you want is your best players out, particularly around the festive period. In terms of the team news, this is the team I think I'd like to see. Tim Krul in goal. I mean, we talk about quality at the top end of the pitch. In the goalkeeping area, Tim Krul saved us points this season. I think of that Southampton game where he made a brilliant save. You need your top quality keeper, and he was very good against Man United. The back four, Aarons, Williams, I think is going to come back in, and Gibson and come back. Sorensen did an incredible job, didn't he? And I think he deserves an opportunity to start in this game. But I think it makes sense. You have to play your centre-backs when you've got them. And Gibson and Kabak could be a really interesting duo. Aaron's at right-back. Obviously, very naive defending. But apart from that, did well. And it's so tough to call between Giannoulis and Williams. They're probably up there with our 2 best players at the moment. But I think you've got to bring back Brandon Williams. But I'm not against moving Brandon Williams to right back, which is, he is right footed, and Giannoulis at left back. It is really harsh on Giannoulis. And that midfield 3, I think you've got to find Sorensen in there. I think he's been excellent, whether he's played left back, centre back against Cristiano Ronaldo, who was terrible, let's be honest, in that Man United game. Sorensen had him in his pocket. And then those midfield Rupp, who was very good against Man United. And I'm pleased because I and quite a lot of fans have probably doubted his Premier League quality, but under Dean Smith, he's really improved and deserves to be starting. Billy Gilmore as well has been very good. And then that front 3, you need goals, so I'm a big advocate for Todd Cantwell returning back in the side and, maybe bringing on Sargent in the second half. That worked against Southampton. Pochetta was a really interesting one. I think many people forgot about him. It's a really, really weird one that he started. I think he's only played 5 minutes of football beforehand, but he did okay. Lacked that composure and that cutting edge, which I've been crying out for. What we need to stay up, but it looked okay. It could be something in there, and then of course Timo Pukki up front. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in this game. Score prediction: I'm going to back a 2-1 Norwich victory with Pukki and Billy Gilmore to get on the score sheet. It'll be a tough game against Aston Villa, but I think Norwich's performances have improved a lot. There's definitely a chance for Norwich, but it will be a tough game. Thanks for watching this match preview. Subscribe if you're new. Let me know your thoughts going into this game, and I'll see you later.